Hello everybody, welcome back to another bookmark video. Today we're going to be making this velvet ribbon bookmark. If you're interested, then stay tuned and I'll show you everything that you need and exactly how to make it. The materials that you will be needing is a 1-inch velvet ribbon, ribbon clamps, charms, bullet point crystals, 24 gauge wire, and jump rings. For the tools, you're going to need flat nose pliers, flush cutters, a 6-step looper, and if you also have bent nose, that would help, but they aren't necessary. I put the materials list in the description box below just in case you need to look at it again, and there is also links if you do not have the supplies already. This is my 24 gauge copper wire. It is painted or plated gold. It's tarnish resistant. I'm taking about 8 to 10 inches and you'll need 2 strands. So I'm just lining them up here, making sure they're even. I really need to get some of those nylon pliers so I can straighten out my wires more easily, but you know, beads come first. So these are the crystal bullet points. I have rose quartz and green aventurine. I'm going to use a green one today. So just trying to straighten it out a little bit more. It's easier to work with. I'm going to take my bent nose pliers and put it about the middle. It's okay if it's not perfect because we cut a little bit extra for ourselves. And then I'm going to put 3 twists on the left hand side of my bent nose pliers. And then I'm going to move over about 1/2 inch and then put 3 more twists on the other side of my bent nose pliers. Should look something like this. And then I'm going to insert my bent nose pliers in the middle there and spread it out until you have a little bit of a diamond shape. And this is so the bullet tip of my crystal can fit inside. So I'm just pushing the wire against the crystal so it shapes to the crystal. And then those twists that we have, you're going to bend on the face of the crystals. I go a little off frame here, but all I'm doing is pushing the wire until my twists are lining up on the flat side of my bullet point and lining up directly on top of each other. So just keep pushing, pulling, making sure that it's perfect, because if you get these two perfect, the rest of your wire wraps will look good. But if they're wonky at all, or if they aren't straight, the rest are going to be not lining up where you want them to be. Now that my twists are lining up on the flat sides of my bullet, I'm going to start twisting the next part. You're going to take your top wire and bring it down first, and then you're going to take your bottom wire and cross it over the top. And then you're going to twist 3 times. You want this twist line to line up on the very edge where the 2 sides are meeting. Once you're done twisting these, push them against your crystal, and then you're going to hold it in the same exact spot and rotate it to the other side where you're going to be putting your next twist. So you're going to pull your top strand down, your bottom strand over that, and then you're going to twist. You want your twist to travel straight across that line where the 2 sides are meeting. Once you're done with this twist, we're going to go back and twist again on the flat edge on both sides. Now we're going to rotate again and do it in the middle of the flat edge on this side. Now we're working on the corner again, but this time we're going to put 4 twists and then rotate and put another 4 twists. Okay, so you should have some weird insect looking thing happening here. And you can see some of my twists aren't perfectly lined up, but you can go ahead and go back and fix that with your pliers by grabbing your twists and pushing them around. And if you guys don't want to work with wire at all, there is crystals that you can get off Amazon or pretty much anywhere that are already wrapped for you. So here I am just pushing around my twists, trying to get them lined up. Once you're happy with the way that your twists look, you're going to take all 4 of your strands, the left side and the right side, and you're going to twist them together, doing 2 full twists. This right side here, we're going to get our flush cutters, and we're going to snip as close as we can to the other wires. Then you're going to take your pliers, whatever it is that you're using, whether bent nose, chain nose, flat nose, and you're just going to push the ends down as close as you can. Go ahead and run your finger over it and make sure that nothing snags you. It will be covered up, but we want it to be uniform underneath. Once everything is nice and tidy, you're going to take your 6-step looper and put a little jog in it going towards me, and then I straighten out my strands. I should have straightened them out first. We're straightening them because we want a nice uniform look. We don't want them all twisted. And then you're going to push your wire back over the first step. Readjust your pliers, grab your working wire and wrap it around the bottom, making sure that your loop is tight. I like a very chunky wrap, so I'm not too careful about where I place it. If you like a more uniform look, then by all means do that. So I'm just wrapping the remainder of the wire. And then I'll take my flush cutters and snip off my 2 ends. And then taking my bent nose again and just readjusting that wire and making sure that there's no pokey ends coming out that might hurt somebody. And then I'm reinserting my 6-step looper and just making that loop a little bit more uniform. And then that's it. That's how you wrap a bullet point crystal. So you want to get out your ribbons. These are the ribbons that I have. The sage green one is my favorite, but today we're going to be making a antique blue. So there's 2 different sizes of bookmarks. These top ones here are for paperback books. The longer ones are for hardback, because hardback is usually much bigger. I measure them for 12 inches when we cut them, and then that leaves 11.5 inches for usable space as a bookmark. But if you're unsure, just take out your book, measure it, see how long you want yours to be, and cut it to that length. These are called ribbon clamps. They go at the end of your ribbon. This is the first set that I bought, but I used up a bunch of them, so I'm slowly replacing the ones that are all out. I really like this set though because it comes in all these different colors and sizes. I think I'm going to work with this antique bronze color. It'll be my first bookmark with these colored ribbon clamps. And the color from my ribbon is antique blue. This is a 5-yard spool. I'm just laying out my ribbon, smoothing it, because you gotta smooth everything, you know? And then I'll take my measuring tape and measure 12 inches. And now that I've measured, I'll try to cut as perfectly straight as I can, but you can always go back and touch it up afterwards if it isn't too straight. Now I'll trim off this piece here that isn't quite straight, and I'm trying to make it as straight as possible so my ribbon clamps can go on nice and smooth so they aren't tilted. Now you'll grab a lighter or go to your stove and run the ends of your ribbon through the flame a few times just to get rid of all the frayed edges and seal up the end so it doesn't become frayed later. This is what it should look like. And here's the other end. Now it's time to put on your ribbon clamps or crimps. You're going to grab your clamp and use your pliers and gently squeeze on one side, working your way to the other side. You want to squeeze very little at first and then make multiple passes, and each time you make a pass, squeeze a little bit more. Be sure to leave enough space so you can easily slide your clamp onto your ribbon. Closing it this way prevents dents in the metal and has a more appealing look. Now we're going to do the second one, again closing very little at first and making multiple passes, closing a little bit more each time. This is about how much space you'll need to make sure that it'll still fit on your ribbon. Then take your ribbon and slide your clamp on. Try to line it up as best you can. Now you're going to grab your pliers and line them up in the middle. Make sure everything's even before you start to squeeze this. Once it's all even, you'll put a fair amount of pressure in the middle and then work on one side and squeeze the other side. This way nothing moves while you're working and the clamp stays in the same spot that you originally had it. Give it a good tug when you're done, make sure that it's not going to slide off or move in any direction. And then we'll do the next side. Line it up, put your pliers in the middle, and squeeze. At this point, I like to lay my ribbon down on the table, and I make sure that my ribbon clamps are not crooked and that they are lined up properly. And then I go back and I squeeze the other sides, making sure that everything is nice and snug and that my clamp is not going to come off. Okay, and then I'm going to get out my jump rings. And I'm trying to decide if I'm going to use gold or this antique color, and I think I'm going to go with the antique, so I'm just testing which one fits best. And I believe this is a 6mm. Now we're going to put our jump rings onto our clamps, put our crystal on, and close our jump ring. And I'm just making sure that it's all the way closed and lined up properly so my crystal does not come off. Now for the charms. I have 4 different types. I love the green and pink one here on the bottom. And I do have this kit linked down below. I got them off Amazon. And now I'm just going to test to see which one I like best with this ribbon and this crystal. So I'm taking my jump ring and I will put it on the clamp and put my charm on and close my jump ring. Make sure that if you do have a charm like this, when you put it on, that it will be facing the right direction once your jump ring is closed. And here's the bookmark. I hope that you guys liked this tutorial, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. The book that I've been using for my prop is called Of Blood and Fire by Ryan Cahill. Unfortunately, I haven't had time to read it yet, but I do have the full series, at least every book that's out so far, and I can't wait to get started on it. If you made it this far, you're amazing. Thank you so much for watching. I'm assuming because you're here checking out a bookmark tutorial that you guys really like books, so I'm just curious, what are you guys reading right now? What's your favorite series? I love all fantasy books. If you have a really good book recommendation, leave a comment and I'll be sure to check it out. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next one.